Let's talk about ADHD, which, by the way, caveat here, which we should put at the beginning, middle, and end of this entire clip is I am not a doctor. I do not do a ton of my own research. This is purely just my personal experience that I had. So please do not take this as some sort of medical advice. It's just what ended up working for me. ADHD. It gets thrown around all the time. I can't tell you how many clients that I've heard tell me like, "Oh, I have ADD, like I can't focus on one thing," and all that kind of stuff. And I've had people tell me like, "Oh, but you don't understand. You don't seem ADD. You seem pretty dialed in." And so, cool. Let's share a personal story then. I don't remember the years, it was maybe 10-ish years ago, maybe longer. Probably, yeah, I don't know, maybe like 13, 14 years ago, right? And so I used to have trouble focusing. I would jump from idea to idea. I had struggles just even like doing one single task. And I had a lot of trouble sleeping as well. And this was kind of when I had started some of my first companies. And I just figured that this was life, right? And one of my friends told me, she was like, "Oh, you should go to a doctor. Like, you probably have ADHD." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. I thought it was just in kids." So anyway, so I go to the doctor and she gives me this test, and I remember it. It's a written test, and I don't remember how long it took me to take it, but I remember like you would have to answer the questions, and they would be on this sliding scale of 1 to 10 or something to something. I don't know, and I would write like 6.5 because that's where I really thought that I was. And anyway, so I took this test and did all this other stuff for her, and she comes back in to give me the results of this test and said, she goes, "Wow." She goes, "I got to tell you." She goes, "You have the highest score of ADHD of anybody that I've ever tested before. Quite frankly, I'm surprised that you have survived in society and been able to hold down a job." And I remember those words. Those were the exact words that she used. And I kind of thought to myself, like, all right, like, cool. I'm a little bit messed up and maybe she can help fix it because it did feel like I struggled to stay focused. And so I went on Adderall for quite a while. And anyway, as I was taking the Adderall, I also realized that I couldn't sleep even more. So I already had some trouble sleeping. And then I went back to her and she's like, "Well, how's it going?" I was like, "Oh, cool. Like I seem to be a little bit more focused, but now I can't sleep." And she's like, "Oh, cool. Here, take this Ambien. This will be great for you. So now you can get a really good night's sleep and you can take the Adderall and stay focused during the day." And I did this for, I don't know, it probably wasn't too long. It was maybe like a year or something like that. And this was also around the same time that I kind of started to get into personal development because I just figured, I was like, man, business and all of this stuff shouldn't be this hard. There's got to be somebody else out there that has kind of done this and paved the way. And so I started reading personal development books. And somewhere along the way, I got into meditation, right? Somebody was like, "Oh, you should try meditation." And I was like, "Man, this seems crazy. Like, what is meditation?" And I started practicing meditation. I started waking up a little bit earlier, meditating a little bit in the morning. I would meditate a little bit more at night. And I kind of had these like little incremental gains for the short term. And then I remember I was having a conversation with one of my buddies who had also been on Adderall, and he was like, "Man," he's like, I started learning a little bit more about it. Like, that stuff might not be so good for you." Which, by the way, caveat here, which we should put at the beginning, middle, and end of this entire clip is I am not a doctor. I do not do a ton of my own research. This is purely just my personal experience that I had. So please do not take this as some sort of medical advice. It's just what ended up working for me. So I continued doing meditation, continued like reading on personal development, stuff like that. And over the course of the next few years, just realized that meditation had a huge impact on my ability to stay focused, on my ability to kind of not listen to the voice in my head pulling me here and there and over here and in all these different places throughout the entire day and also throughout the night. Like I had a stint there where for like 3 or 4 years I barely ever slept. You can ask my wife about it. It was probably highly entertaining for her. Uh but yeah, it was just a couple years where I just never really slept. And I just knew that this wasn't the right way. And so I personally went down this path of like just meditation, reading personal development. And the more I kind of got better about the consistency of my meditations and carrying that state through the day, meaning like having a meditation, which I didn't do long ones. I started with 2 minutes, and then I worked up to 10 and then 20, and then I tested 60 and then went back down to 20. But meditation is great for a lot of people, especially while you're doing it. But the thing that kind of gets lost in translation or not really taught is the goal of meditation is not to just do 20 minutes of meditation and then be done and go about your day. The goal is to kind of reprogram your mental state consistently throughout the day, become more present, not listen to that voice in your head that creates all the like fear and anxiety and frustration and stress. And then can you carry that state through the day as long as possible? And then over the course of time, I would just carry that state a little bit further. I mean, when I started, it was like, cool, I meditated, I felt really good. I got up, like by the time I got to the kitchen, I was already like a total, mess inside my head thinking about the thousands of things that could go wrong today or the thousands of things that I needed to do today. But over the course of time, I would stay in that kind of state longer and longer until eventually I got to where, a lot of times I can walk through most of my day really present and just kind of in that same meditative state to where I'm able to focus on one thing at a time. I'm able to much more easy determine like taking all of the inputs that are coming in and say, cool, like 99% of those coming in right now are not important. And this is the only important one. And being able to kind of shut off the rest of my brain and just work on that one thing. And so I share this because I think there's a lot of people around me, a lot of people, especially a lot of entrepreneurs that are constantly talking about their ADHD or ADD and how that's impacting them. And so I wanted to share this because it is personally what helped me when, I was told by a doctor, hey, I'm surprised that you've even been able to function in society or hold down a job. Um, and this is what's worked for me. So, I mean, kind of, I don't know, I guess summing some of this up, I found that meditation was a very impactful thing, and I still do it consistently. I meditate for some amount of time in the morning, and then some amount of time at night, and then even throughout the days, I'll find a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, to where I can just like sit in my car before I go into an office, or sit in my car after a meeting before I start driving back to the office. And you just find these little moments to where you can take a few breaths, get present again, and then it allows you to not listen to that voice in your head that's pulling you in 7,000 different ways. And I guess I just kind of realized not too long ago, like, I kind of forgot about what it used to be like living in my head 10, 15 years ago and the amount of progress that I have made by that. And it was just pretty cool. Like, quite frankly, it felt good. I was pretty proud of myself for doing it. And I don't know. So just thought this might be a cool topic to share if it's something that can help somebody out because I am a very strong believer in meditation. I believe everybody should have some sort of a meditative practice because it can just do pretty amazing things for you.